welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for a new episode of Anewgo of New Home Sales. I'm your host, Anya Chrisanthon, and joining me today are my two favorite co-workers, John Lee and Sara Williams.
Hi.
Hey guys.
So this is an impromptu interview with Sara Williams because Sara is leaving Anewgo. We're all very sad, but very excited for Sara. So this is our virtual farewell party for Sara Williams. So we wanted to go down the memory lane of just all the joy, all the accomplishments, all the things Sara Williams and share it with you guys on today's podcast. We love Sara very much. We are very excited for her next chapter, and we're very grateful for all the contributions to Anewgo. So Sara, per usual, we like to start off our podcast by letting our listeners know who you are. So tell us about your journey into home building industry.
Thanks, guys. And it's like a bittersweet day here because, I've love this team, and I can't believe we're doing a podcast that's for me leaving. But yeah, I started out in the industry just about 20 years ago. I was working at a gym and got engaged to be married and was moving from the Philadelphia suburb area to Pittsburgh. And that's how I got my first job into home building. My boss down in New Jersey, he helped me introduce me to a family that owned a building company. So I did him a favor by staying on a couple extra months. When I told him I wanted to move to Pittsburgh, he said, just stay here and I'll help you connect with people in Pittsburgh. He was from Pittsburgh as well. So he knew a bunch of people there. So that's how I started. And crazy enough, I stayed with that builder for 10 years. So I started out in on-site sales, trained, got my real estate license, and then gradually went into the home office and became the marketing coordinator and the first OSC that the company ever had. And that's going back probably almost 17 years ago. We started that OSC program, and then eventually had to decide whether or not I was going to stay in marketing, just doing marketing, or doing OSC. And there's a lot more money in OSC and sales. So I stuck with OSC and went on to win the first OSC of the year. After a couple of years, grew that team to 3 OSCs, and then got recruited to South Carolina, to Charleston, to become director of marketing. So then moved my whole family to Charleston and took a leap of faith and did that for a while, and then needed to pivot again. And I was missing sales. So I was really missing sales. So I connected with my friends at Lasso CRM, and they took a chance on me to bring me into the technology side of the business. And then I was selling CRMs to home builders. So I did that for 4 years until ECI purchased us. And then I worked for ECI, who now owns Lasso, for 2 years. And then John Lee, during all these years, I met John Lee while I worked at Lasso. We would both be sponsoring events together, and we would start talking, and he was sharing his vision for where he thought the future of home buying was going. And we would just chat, and we became fast friends. And over time, he's like, hey, I really need someone over here on my team. So I think it was like 2 years before I actually joined. So going back 5 years ago, you and I really started talking seriously about me joining the team.
Yeah, I can't believe this is actually happening. Here you are on the last week's here, and we've been friends for so long, even before you start working here, like you're saying. There's a lyric in the Sheryl Crow song, if it makes you happy, then why the hell are you so sad? And I feel that way today because as a friend, I'm so happy for you, because I really do think that this is a great opportunity for you. And I know you aren't looking to leave, but every couple of months, you always tell me, hey, somebody calling me up, recruiting me, and I keep saying no, and no, I don't even want to hear the offer and everything. And then this last time where you got that proposition, it's the first time I've really seen you giddy and excited. And I don't want to stop you from something that is actually fulfilling to what you want to do as a career, as the next step, as it's just developing yourself, because I know your journey isn't going to stop with just me or the next job. You have a grand career aspiration. And I'm glad that I was able to be part of that journey, because I was really attracted to you, like you're saying, when we were at the booth, and everybody knew Lasso. So everybody's going to Lasso. They're talking to Sara Williams. And back then, I didn't even have a sales and marketing staff. That's why the CEO is standing there. I don't even know if I had a booth, I'll just stand next to you. And then people would ask you about renderings and you say, hey, go talk to John. And you're already selling for us and you weren't even part of it. And I said, hey, I just need somebody to help start with that. And you've been great. The only silver lining in this whole process is that I don't have to worry about people recruiting you every couple of months and saying, hey, now it's somebody else's problem. Good. I can just stay focused and Sarah, you're off to a better place in a sense.
No, and I'm excited that this has been an amazing, and I tell everyone I got a PhD in 3 years. I've been here for 3 years, but of course, John, you and I have been friends so much longer. And Anya, I know you were the same boat, like talking to, we're friends with John before we came on as employees. But we were like true believers of the vision of where Anewgo is headed. And that has not changed. And that's not going to change. Like I drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago.
You're probably a little drunk from it.
I sell the Kool-Aid actually now. So no,
right.
Yeah, like I'm a distributor. So no, that's the thing. I truly believe John, you're a visionary and your vision, everything that you've ever told. I know Anya and I talk about this sidebar all the time. The stuff you were telling us 4 years ago has actually happened. You always would say, I don't know how it's going to happen. I can't see all the details, but this is going to happen. I just can't figure out the timeline. And in the time that I've known you, it has actually happened. Call it dumb luck, if you will, but I think it's the visionary part of it. So I think Anewgo is like definitely on the right track. Everything that has been put in place and everything that's still being put in place as I'm leaving, I'm so excited for the team because I know 3.0, there's a whole new platform. If there's anything that anyone or our listeners should know is John Lee likes to spend money on building technology. I've worked for companies that don't necessarily spend the type of money that John Lee does, blowing up the old platform for the new platform. Most of my friends in the industry are still working on very old platforms. They don't have the money. They don't have the ability because maybe they are answering to somebody else to rebuild it. And here at Anewgo, that's just not that. We rebuild everything.
To give you guys some credit, it wasn't just dumb luck. I found great people in you and Anya and Andrew. Literally in 2020, we were Rendering House and we were changing our name and our brand and our strategy to become a software company in Anewgo. I didn't have a sales and marketing team. It was just me for 20 years. And that you guys have put structure in place. You've actually helped grow our brand, our recognition, our appreciation by the industry of what we are. And you've done a phenomenal job, Sarah. You're not leaving because you're doing poorly. Last year was our biggest record sales year. And this year we're well ahead of last year. You've put the pieces in place. You've helped develop the products that I feel like, gosh, it's just rolling out right after you're leaving, but you were instrumental in developing the products and getting the buy-in from our customers and our partners to make this platform viable. And I think it's just the start of something new, and we're making a new go of it. And really couldn't have done it without you two.
Thank you. And Sarah, I agree. I think you are so well known and so well respected in the industry, and your contribution has been invaluable. And I think especially because you have been in all the seats, you've been in on-site sales, you've been in OSC, you did the marketing for builders, you worked in another technology company with Lasso, which is a very popular CRM that many builders use. And obviously now with us integrating Lasso with Insights, you know all the different angles from all those previous roles that like, oh, this person needs this. And so you were really able to expertly guide the product development into what it should be because of your experiences. When they say, you're not paying me for the 10 minutes, you're paying me for the 30 years of experience that I brought. So it's a true testament to your knowledge and all the contributions. And so your next employer is definitely very lucky to have you. And I'm sure you're gonna be contributing more and more to our industry. And I can only be the cheerleader on the sidelines cheering for you with
We're always here for you.
We always will. But Sarah, I'd love to know from your perspective of your tenure at Anewgo, what were some of your most memorable moments, maybe personally, professionally, what were some of the things that really stick up to you in your mind if you're going to be thinking back on your time here at Anewgo?
So there's a couple of things. And John, there's no secrets between John and I of like my journey here, because he and I literally talk probably
We talk about
once
every
a day.
day for the last 2 years, huh? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
literally. And
Literally.
sometimes for an hour, sometimes for 2 hours. So like,
Weekends,
no
nights, early morning, whatever.
Yeah. So we definitely talk, but I feel like the first real memory I have is, when I first got here, there was a lot of change happening here at Anewgo. So obviously the brand had changed because Anya, I started just about almost a year before you did. So the brand had just recently changed, and we rolled out in the first 6 months 3 new products, and I was still learning the core products as the only salesperson. And I was just literally on this roller coaster ride. I felt like I was losing my mind because I was just really just trying to get a grasp on what my story was, like how to position this. And then it felt like every other week I was shown a new product that we were adding on. And it was a lot, John. Remember, it was just a lot happening in those first 6 months. And I literally was like, I don't know if I could do this. I said that, like, it was not for the faint of heart. Being part of a startup is not for the weak. It's not for someone that needs things to be black and white. You live in the gray. And
no
I knew,
structure.
yeah, there's not structure. Like, you're creating if there is structure, you're creating it on your own. And I truly believe I am that type of person that can live in that. But I will say that for 6 months, there's like a book called The Dip. And it's like being in the dip and you're down in it and you're just like trying to get out of the dip. And I was in the dip, right? I was in the dip and I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to pull the plug and get the heck out or if I was ever going to make it out. And then it was like, I felt like the clouds parted. It felt like month 7. I really felt like I found my grounding and found my footing. It was like almost like the clearing happened. And I feel like I vividly remember, and my husband remembers it. And John, it even talks about it. He's like, it was just like this shift in me and my mentality. Like, just, there was like a shift, and everyone in my universe.
It was that aha moment. Everybody got it, that you got it.
And it was like, everyone, there she is.
Everywhere.
Yeah. But I was really struggling. And I
Right.
think, and what I want people to know is I feel like every single person does this at every new job. And being the new person at a job, that's the one part I'm not looking forward to where I'm headed, is being the new person, because I absolutely love being a linchpin. I love knowing all the things. I love being the go-to gal. That is what I thrive on in any organization that I work at. And being the new person, which I was at Anewgo, and there was so much new, like every product was new, even to the whole organization. So there was really no one to go to ask. I had to figure it all out. It was a struggle for me. And I grew so much during that time in my just character, and I just feel like I got stronger because of that period and because I stayed in it versus hitting eject, which there was that temptation to eject so many times. And John, I know you felt it. Everyone felt that I was like, is she checking out? Is she still here? But anyway, I got through the dip. And it was like the skies parted and the sun was shining. And I felt like I was off to the races after that. So genuinely, that's one of my first real memories of being here, because I remember the struggle bus that I was on. And I remember just everything like parting. But I do feel like a lot of people know what I'm talking about, of being the new person and just really feeling that struggle. And you have to give everything like 6 to 9 months to really know if it's for you or not. I think you have to, it's like a new move or anything that you do that's changed. You have to like stay in it and be uncomfortable with being uncomfortable and find your feet. Right. So that's what definitely I will say, that it was not easy. Being that first year was probably the most exciting, but the most I felt in a long time. But that was the whole reason I came to Anewgo. When I left ECI, I was so comfortable in that job. That is what I was longing for, is to be challenged. And that is who I am as a person, is like challenge growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. And that's what I truly believe. And oh, holy heck, did I grow here. And I say, I feel like 3 years later, like I have a PhD in what we've been doing, because I really feel like the education that I've gotten here is priceless in so many ways, whether it's entrepreneurship, tech, product development, obviously like just launching all new products and bringing it to market. There's so much that I learned here and I can't repay this team enough for that experience.
You guys know that I'm a gardener, and your experience here to me is almost like when I planted the seeds, and then, oh, is she ever going to sprout? Is she ever going to sprout? And I'm watering you and I try to nurture you and even dump
Takes longer
manure
than
on
6
you.
months. Just kidding.
A lot of crap I dumped on you. And then all of a sudden you just popped out of the ground. And then when you sprouted, you grew very quickly, and you're even blossoming and bearing fruit. When I say bearing fruit, beyond sales, and that you are sharing a lot of stuff on social media about what you've learned on your own, ChatGPT, all the stuff with AI, and you're developing a lot of stuff. You're fearless, and people are buying into, hey, if Sara can do it in a sense, it's possible that us can learn. No discredit to you. It's actually a reverence to you. The one thing I've learned also in your growth is that you've become like the HR department for this industry. Whether you're doing those OSC compensation surveys, people looking for jobs, people looking for advice and consultation, you are the connector. And I think one of the things that I've seen from you well beyond sales is that you are well beyond sales, is that you are a connector both internally with our account manager, our client success, our production people, our software people. You bring it all together there. You are that glue that brings it together, and externally with all your relationships with all the different agencies and systems and people over the years, what works, who can get it done. You know what it costs. You just know the players, and you're able to bring it all together. And that is such a valuable commodity.
Thanks. You don't realize it's valuable until it's valuable. It's like until someone needs it. So you don't realize what you know until someone asks you, like, oh yeah, I can help you with that. So it's just a lot of the stuff that you're talking about, John,
it's natural to you, and that's why you're going to be so hard to replace.
Wanting to help.
And I love that that's what you're talking about, is that challenging phase, because I think especially so many Gen Zs now, and like even younger millennials, the trend is as soon as you don't like something, it's like you quit faster is like the new trend. And I do think there is such value in staying, and obviously you got to figure out if it's the right thing for you,
right?
But you also have to realize that not everything is going to be easy. And if it was easy, it's probably not the right fit, right? Because there's no growth that's going to take place in that. So you talking about it almost reminds me of my year when I moved from Russia, and it was like thrown into this like craziness and had to sink or swim essentially, and like how I was feeling. So it's interesting. It's like a similar experience. And then on top of that, Sara, you were also a mother to 2 new toddlers at the same time. You had your 2 babies back to back, and COVID and everything else that was going on at the same time. So it was certainly not the easiest of times to start a new job and thrive in a new role. So kudos to you for raising up and raising your family all while doing it with such grace.
Thank you. And honestly, like literally I had a 4 or 5 month old and a 1-year-old and a middle schooler when I joined Anewgo. So I always say thank you to John for just being patient, because during COVID, daycare would close. And if you don't have an understanding employer, John has 3 kids. They're out of the house now, but he was patient when I was like, a kid would show up in the Zoom window, or he would hear one of my kids come home from school or whatever. So I always say, like, thank you. That's a blessing to the company for being patient with me being a mom, because we all know if you're a working parent, not every employer and not every company is as understanding. Some people they just don't get it or don't care to get it. And John and the team here always was very patient with me when something happened with my kids. So thank you, John, for that.
Everybody in the organization loves you, and they all say, oh, we're like losing a family member, even to the point where even one of our clients that just found out that you're leaving, I feel like I'm losing a family member. I'm like, you're not even part of our family, and you thinking of Sara as a family member.
But she's a builder partner. Yeah, like builder partners, they're extension of us. So yeah, I mean,
I think you built such a relationship beyond sales. I think if you were to ask our builder clients tell me about Sara, they say, Sara's such a wonderful asset to us. They don't think of you just as selling them products. They're thinking you as advising them, consulting them. And I think that comes from not just Anewgo, but 1, your years of experience, but 2, you just really care about helping the customers, good, bad, indifferent. You're very transparent. If it doesn't work with us, if Anewgo can't provide it, you tell them. From a normal salesperson, just shove it down their throat. You're like, no, we're not the right client for you or a vendor for you. And
Right.
And I think that transparency, that honesty, and that trust is what really makes you successful.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I feel like I'm a consultant first, and I'm not going to sell you something that you don't need or want. And if we don't have it and we can't solve the problem for you, then I'm going to match you up with one of my friends in the industry that might be able to. And I do that. People remember that. They
Right.
remember how you treat them and how they feel. And if there's one thing I can teach anyone that's selling anything, is that there's always an opportunity later to potentially sell to that person, because our industry specifically, people are so transient. They move from one company to the next. So I've been able to sell to the same person at multiple companies because of a relationship I built with them. Or if it wasn't the right fit for that builder, they remember me at the next place that they work. So that's been huge, a huge part of, if you treat people the way you would want to be treated, it all works out eventually.
100%. So Sara, we've obviously launched a bunch of different products while you were here. So from the marketplace to now we're working on a website. So we really launched Insights 3.0. There's lots of things that have been in motion. So what product have you been the most excited about on your journey here at Anewgo?
So the ones that, I mean, exist today that you can buy today, because there's like the future ones that are coming that I know all about too. That what we call right now is our standalone products. I was so excited to be able to offer that to our builder partners. And that was the ability to take apart our platform. We offer a platform called My Home App, for those that don't know. And then you're able to buy just a map, you're able to buy just the color tool, or buy an interactive floor plan on its own and plug it in a very seamless way. So that was something that we did not have when I first got here. And that was something that I heard recurring from different builders and even our agency partners that really were looking for that opportunity, because sometimes they just didn't need all the things we had. So over time, as I gathered, and I would say as a salesperson, you need to gather the data and show your team, they understand like what the opportunity is. You have to be able to express it as a salesperson, not that it's just like a gut reaction or a gut feel, that there's actually builders that we could sell this to. So John and the team and King, our CTO, they really did listen. And that's what I love. It's like they did listen when I would say stuff. Did I always get my way? Absolutely not. But there was times that I did. And this was one of them. And I was able to take that and prove the proof of concept, right? So in technology, you have to, as a salesperson, you get what you ask for, but now I had to go out and show them that we could actually make money. So we were able to build upon the products. And in this next iteration of My Home App and our 3.0 products, we're even going to have a third iteration for builders. It's like a middle ground. So I'm really excited. That's one of the products I'm really excited about that the team's going to be offering very soon. So taking a product that I helped develop, our current product, and then there's even going to be a third option for builders that just to really give, when you're implementing our products, giving the experience that you want to show in your website. And then, of course, we all have Anewgo websites, which is like the cream of the crop. It's going to be like the best implementation you can have. That's a fourth iteration of what we're talking about. That's really exciting too, for me to watch that whole product be built and be tested. I've gotten the opportunity to see all that. So I'm thrilled because, again, I get to talk to so many builders and I know what they want. And that standalone product checked the box, but the websites are going to blow people away just because of the experience. And we have some underway right now, and they're going to be fantastic. So I'm really excited about that as well.
Sara's been instrumental in not just selling our individual products, which that's how we started out with as a content creator, but she's been instrumental in helping us build an entire ecosystem and a platform, from a Anewgo marketplace where you have hundreds of builders and you can design online, to even the point of sales with the sales kiosk, which we're going to introduce here actually in a couple of days here internally. And then
tomorrow we get to see it.
Yeah, tomorrow. So right before you leave, you get to see all the things that you've been like creating and advising on, and then tying all that in for a seamless single sign-on customer journey where you can start where you left off. And then right before, in this past year, she's been instrumental in guiding us on the potential of AI and researching and playing around with things. That AI element to really guide a buyer down a personalized AI assisted journey, and still incorporating OSCs and salespeople from her experience and background, that has been such a crucial element of developing our products. A lot of people just like, oh yeah, you guys develop all this software and all this stuff, and you have all these great coders and smart people. it's nothing without the guide. If somebody can't guide us to what the customers want and what their pains are and what their needs are and what they're willing to pay for and their timelines and their legacy systems and their people, I don't think we can get it done. And so really, if there's more important than any sales that you've done for us, Sara, is that you put us on the right path, because as a bootstrap company, I cannot afford to go wrong, and I cannot afford to go wrong for years. And so you probably saved me years of pain. And that's probably why you're so valuable to your next employer. Gosh, I can't say that. I can't even say that. But let's get to the nuts and bolts of it, because there's a practical element here. As you're leaving, I have to find somebody that's the next Sara. And it takes probably an unusual person here. What qualities will they need to have to flourish here, or will they flounder here? Anewgo is a different animal than anybody else that you've ever worked for.
Oh gosh, literally, even when Anya was coming on, I knew that she had like a fire in her belly. And I was just so excited to see that it was like even bigger than what I thought I knew.
She's fearless.
Like I will say that. And that's why I think Anya and I get along. And sometimes she's like helping not fan my flame. She's like, all right, calm down, Sara. You know, so we both have a fire, but in a different way. So that's been like magical. And I was going to say, not everybody's going to bring the enthusiasm and the energy. John, you and I joke around like we can match each other's energy, which it's hard for people like Anya, even, and for Andrew, sit in a meeting with you and they're like, holy smokes, guys. So we're definitely.
And you take it on stage now too. It used to be just behind the scenes. Yeah. You're out there on webinars, on stage, on IBS. You've taken it to the masses.
And that's my whole thing though, is like the energy, even in a meeting. We're just like a little
even
bit
now.
Yeah. Well, so that's what I'll say, is that the next person, do I expect them to have my level of energy and enthusiasm? No, but I think you have to be able to not give up. Sales in general, there's like this like relentlessness and just not being afraid to be told no. Don't get offended if someone doesn't like what you have or doesn't want what you have. John, you and I joke around. I was like, if I got offended with how many no's I got, like I would have been out of this game a long time ago. I've been selling for 25 years. I've literally asked people for things and money for services all day long. So you need to have that core, obviously, personality that you're not afraid to ask someone to do business with you. But then also the genuine curiosity. I'm extremely curious, but I do think being in a role like in a startup environment, you have to be curious and you have to ask questions. Sales is very much about asking questions, but it's even deeper when you're trying to build a product. And you have the ability to form a product and mold a product. And I would say there's a gift or a skill to that, but it's also remembering, taking notes. It's such a fine line of not guiding somebody and telling them how it should be, because that's super easy for us as salespeople to be like, don't you think it should be like this? You can offer suggestions, but you want to hear from them. Like, how would they use it? What's their pain, and then take that back to the team and try to create it. John, it's a big mystery. And I know so many companies out there are looking for their special person. I'm not going to say it's easy to find, but I do think that whoever you have on your team, you figure out what their strong suits are and their special qualities and try to shine lights on them, because we're all different, right? Every single employee you have on your team, even if they have sales skills, like you would talk, they're going to have other unique qualities. And then see how you can leverage that within your organization. So I think your next person, they're not going to be able to be quote unquote the next Sara or Sara 2.0. And I hate when people say that, because that person's going to have so many unique qualities that I have never been gifted, that you take that and run with it. But I think the general curiosity and the ability to close a sale is pretty key. It's really mission critical when you're trying to build revenue and asking great questions so it can help the team grow.
I think one common thread I've seen with you and Anya, and you guys have been such a positive asset to my company, and even like advising me and consulting me. Even John, don't use all that jargon so the fifth grader can understand, and even how I even present myself. Those have been great things. But one of the things I've seen that was really great between you two is that you're self-driven. I don't need to guide you too much. That comes with experience, but that comes with confidence. And the other part with you is you guys are not afraid to try something new. how many things have we thrown on TikTok? And I don't even know all the things that we've done. We throw it out there, it sticks. Okay, we stick with it. It doesn't stick, we move on. And that ability to pivot and not just be caught in a rut and just try to keep pushing a rock up the hill. I think you guys, you persevere, you're persistent, but you also know when to change it up and to try something new. And I love that part about you. That's what makes this job so exciting for me, frankly.
I agree.
That's probably my favorite part. I can't imagine working for a company where I have to go somewhere for like approval, or I have an idea, let's try this. Like I know I can pitch it to John and he'll probably, unless it's something really outrageous, he'll be like, go for it, see how it goes. So
yeah, I can
love
hardly ever
that
say no to you two. If you're that passionate about it and you believe in it, I at least got to give you guys a chance.
It really stimulates your creativity and allows you to try things. And again, because we're not a huge organization, we are able to pivot and move quicker. We tried this, it didn't work. Okay, let's pivot. Let's try this. Let's try that. And again, we have been doing some out of the box ideas that most other people are just, companies are maybe too conservative to even do.
I agree. Anya, and you've definitely, working with you has been such a blessing. I'm like, I'll tell you that. You've taught me like the confidence that this woman, that Anya just exudes and just has helped me. I felt like I was confident, but it's like funny when you're with someone that's like really confident, like Anya, that it just, you can't help but just, she just has helped, you have just helped me. Yeah. So like in that regard of just not being more fearless. Like John says that I was fearless, but I felt like I became more fearless by working with Anya, just because just how you show up in this world and how you show up for women. It's been a blessing. So I love it. And thank you. Thank you for that gift, because I'm going to carry that with me through wherever life takes me.
Thank you. And likewise.
Yeah, like I'm getting emotional. Yeah, I'm like, oh.
Let's end on a positive note. You said it was definitely a challenging time in the beginning, but is there anything that's like a funny moment, or maybe something that you'd remember, look back and laugh at, or just with something that would bring smile to your face? Any moments like that comes up for you?
So gosh, I feel like genuinely it was probably like times where we all traveled together and just just being together, which it wasn't often because we all work in different locations. So just fun. I think that's the part that it's not for everybody to know, but if you were there, you had to be there. John, you, Andrew, and Mel had a hilarious moment at IBS. We're not going to tell all the details. I know, we're just like, you had to be there. You had to be there to understand. But the laughter and the tears and the belly laughs lasted for hours, and I still crack up thinking about it. Anya, you making me do a TikTok at the hotel in Raleigh, like just stuff like that. It's just like the team that we have, and doing TikToks at the Christmas party. Those are the funny things that it has nothing to do with works, so to speak, but it's just like togetherness and just like cracking up and laughing and just making good memories together. And
yeah, I think we genuinely like each other, and that makes a big difference in the nature of work, because it doesn't really feel like work. Sometimes it's, oh yeah, we just have to try this, and I think this would be a cool feature, and we're just doing this, and then we're laughing along the way, and when sometimes we embarrass ourselves, but it's okay, because I think we really stick up for each other. And the other part too, even though I feel like you're like a family member that's leaving, we're going to have a lot of family reunions when we go to so many conferences and stuff.
You can't get rid of me, John.
Yeah, I can't get rid of.
Yeah,
I'll probably be talking to you the day after you leave here.
No, Jeff Mink, I was on a call with him yesterday, and I left him 3 years to come here. And I made a joke as I was getting on the call with their sales team yesterday at ECI. I said, he's been trying to get rid of me for 3 years, but I keep showing back up. So you guys will not get rid of me as easily as you think. I might be moving to another organization, but I never forget my people, and I always try to bring companies together if it makes sense. And if there's a partnership, I always strive for that, because there's such love. And I'm so proud of all the companies I worked for and all the products that I've put out and I've sold. There's just such a pride there that I still, as you guys know here, I still sold Lasso all the time when I worked on calls, and I will continue to sell Anewgo if it makes sense to sell Anewgo. Like I just can't, you can't get rid of that. And I only work for companies that I'm authentically believe in. So that's who I am. And yeah, you're not going to get rid of me. That's so easy. So
I'm not trying to get rid of you. I'm trying to hold on to you.
There's always a future. So
yeah, we'll cross roads again.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. This is great. I'm like all weepy here, but I loved my time. John, thank you so much for this opportunity. One, to do memory lane, but just the opportunity to work with you in lockstep. This is like the team. This was priceless. 3 years. I know it feels like longer because you and I talk, and we're not going to stop talking, but this has been a fantastic 3 years. So thank you.
Yeah,
And
and on
thank
behalf
you
of
for all
my
the
company,
contributions, Sarah. Yes.
Thank you.
You're definitely gonna be irreplaceable here. So we're not gonna have another Sara Williams. We will continue on and love to see what you do next and follow your journey. And again, I'll always be your biggest cheerleader. So
Thank you. Same. Thanks, guys.
farewell, and we'll see
Like,
what Sarah does next. Stay tuned.
see ya.
bye.
Bye, guys.